Everyone, I'm going to be reacting to the Xbox at Gamescom live stream, which is starting now.
Biggest gaming convention in the world from the largest Xbox booth in Gamescom history.
That's right, Maxie. More than 45,000 square feet, 39 titles, 150 gaming stations, and 3 massive theaters. This epicenter of gaming is our home for the next 3 days as we catch up with some of the minds behind the most anticipated titles.
Plus, we'll take you on the floor as fans from around the world get their hands on the newest games, expansions, and updates coming to Xbox and PC.
And today we will hang out with Todd Howard and Hines of Bethesda to talk about Starfield.
So I'm only really interested in the first half. Second half isn't for me.
Experience with a live interview right here on the Xbox booth stage.
And Rod Ferguson from Blizzard gives us all the hot takes on Diablo 4. And we're also celebrating a big birthday for ID at Xbox. It was announced 10 years ago at Gamescom.
Plus, we've got gameplay demos from games like Age of Empires 4 Anniversary Edition, which, in case you missed it, just last night had a massive shadow drop onto console.
That's right, yesterday's opening night live was epic. So if you didn't see it live, don't worry, let us quickly bring you up to speed on the Xbox headlines. Starfield, the opener, what was going on?
It was unbelievable. We got to see that live action demo for the first time, and the reception that it's gotten from not only at opening night live, but also here on the show floor at Gamescom has been incredible. It just looks exceptional, and like things that people are getting to experience at the Starfield Theatre, which we'll talk about in a little bit, right? It's been amazing. You've seen everyone coming out there like super excited, and as you can see from the trailer, it is just stunning.
Yeah.
One of the most anticipated games, I think.
I know. I'm so jealous of everyone that's already been in the Starfield Theatre. Like, I'm going immediately after this. We need to go and see it. I also, the massive announcement, Age of Empires 4 finally on consoles. I love playing H2 on controller and things, so having fan favorite Age of Empires 4 now available is so exciting for Xbox Series X, S, and Xbox One too.
Yeah, but we also got love for the PC fans, right? So it was our history untold with the first gameplay trailer that we saw back when we announced it in 2022. And you could see how this game turns out in terms of, we saw battle scenes, we saw heroes, the diversity of heroes. So you would have a George Washington who would be more a military, a strategy guy, and then the other one was from Greece, who maybe is more into building masterpieces and epic cities. So it really speaks to the depth of a strategy game, and looking forward to see it later on this week.
It looks awesome. And like I'm a big Call of Duty fan, all right? So you might know, man. Like, you know, we play every so often, but seeing Modern Warfare 3 for the first time, we already knew about the improvements that they've been making to like the movement and increase of time to kill, and seeing that campaign for the very first time, seeing Dan from Verdansk, really exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait for zombies as well. I love the scary, spooky elements of games like that. So I was really excited to see Little Nightmares 3 announced as well. I love the first two, so this one's really good.
I heard Little Nightmares 3 is going to have couch co-op.
I also loved, it's here on the shop floor as well, the Black Myth Wukong as well. I'm so excited to play that because I love games like Sekiro and Wo Long.
It's like hard games. Any game that's like that's difficult to complete, that's just you.
I like a little challenge, but yeah. What about your personal highlight, Maxie?
Yeah, definitely had a highlight, and that was the Sustainability Award. So we won Green Game Studio of the Year. It could be studio/publisher/company, and it's really about anything due to the core values that the company and Xbox brings to reduce your carbon footprint, but also how you built this booth, basically. What's up with reusable items? How do you set up the light? Do you use LED lights? And then the highlight of that submission, and basically how we won it, is the Developer Sustainability Toolkit that helps developers like 343, Epic with Fortnite to measure their energy consumption and the carbon emission.
Yeah.
It's also such a huge booth, so just seeing like all the stuff that's gone into it just to kind of like help that side is incredible as well.
It looks great, and honestly, we've got so much to look forward to over the next 3 days, including some giveaways.
I love this chick's gold Xbox chain.
Which will have a chance to be entered into a raffle for some sweet prizes. Wonder what they are.
Do love a giveaway, right? You just can't go wrong. So make sure to get yourselves involved in that. But next up, we travel to a world not so far away. In fact, it's right next door at the Starfield Theatre, and I got a chance to chat with Bethesda's very own Todd Howard about the upcoming release and the out-of-world experience the team has for audiences here at Gamescom. Thanks, Todd, so much for joining us. We're here at the Starfield Theatre. What are fans expecting to see?
We're actually showing everybody the beginning of the game here. It's kind of edited down, but they get to see how it starts, a little bit of character creation, and then they're off on adventure.
Yeah, brilliant. I've seen some of the reactions of people coming out, and it's like everyone looks super excited.
All right, good.
Can't wait to see. Also, how's it back home? How are the team holding up with this close to launch?
This is it's tight time. I mean, the game's pretty much done. We're doing a couple final tweaks. There's a lot of things that go into a game of this scale actually launching, but super excited. We love the game. We put so much into it. We just hope everybody out there loves it as well.
Yeah, I know everyone's super excited. And being here at Gamescom, what goes into the preparation for yourselves and like the team at Xbox?
Well, you look at this booth, I mean, I don't know, you're asking the wrong person. I look at this and it's just incredible, the scale of everything. I don't think the camera can capture it. I'm kind of blown away. For us, we put a video together. It gets a little bit easier to make videos when the game is just about to come out because things are done. So honestly, our part was easy, super exciting to be here and see the excitement from the fans. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, and you mentioned like the booth here is massive, but Starfield itself is one of the largest game undertakings that we've ever seen. What are fans going to expect when they get their hands on the game?
Well, I think, if they played our previous games where you can kind of make the character you want and go do what you want, it's hard to express how big the game feels when you play it. Like, well, there's a planet. I can really land anywhere. And it is a game, even I will admit, that the kind of... You sit down, you're like, I'll play for a half hour, then 3 hours go by, and you're like, what? It's just, I like to say the more that you give to Starfield, the more you put into it, the more it gives back.
Yeah, like I'm personally
It's a weird thing to say.
excited to get my hands on it. Also,
I want Starfield to give me things.
For myself, hopefully security let me, but thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I just hope everybody loves the game.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Hey there everyone, I'm so excited to be joining you here at Gamescom with the rest of the Xbox On team. But while Benny's trying to dodge that security at the Starfield Theatre experience, we've actually got our very first giveaway. So why don't you guys type !day1 in Twitch chat for a chance to win a whole month of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. But joining me right now is Bethesda's very own Pete Hines to talk about more Starfield. Pete, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. It must feel good to be back at Gamescom as well.
It is. This is a show I've been to a lot of times and over the years, and it's always a great crowd. It's honestly, it's amazing to like bump into fans I recognize and see folks, and honestly to be back in person. It's something we haven't gotten to do a whole lot of, and as Todd was just saying, you can really feel the energy from the fans, how excited they are, how much they're looking forward to it. It honestly, it makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a really special place for that, I think. But so many of the fans that are here today and watching from home are just kind of waited with bated breath for what's to come for Starfield. But these last few days ahead of launch, what do they tend to look like for you and for the rest of the team?
It's in some ways it's probably the most difficult part of a campaign. Because number one, how close it is. Number two, the amount of work that our teams right now, and shout out to all of those folks who are number one crushing it, doing an amazing job with the trailer at ONL last night and everything that's been a part of this campaign.
I mean, the game should be done now. They should be relaxing.
Just sitting here where
hopefully.
you've now given the game to a bunch of people to press, to influencers, and you don't really know what they think or how they're feeling, and so it's a little bit helpless, so we try and focus on the things that we can control, and most of all, we're just so excited for next week and to get this into people's hands.
I mean, I personally...
they're doing early access on the 31st. I wonder how long you'll actually get to play it for.
And, influencers.
I should queue it for download, actually, while I'm thinking about it.
To me, that speaks we love what we've done with this game. It's now time for you guys to really have a go with it.
Yeah, and if I'm being honest, there's really not an amount of time that I'm comfortable enough of now you've played enough Starfield to get what this game is, because I'm at 150, 160 hours on my current playthrough, and I haven't even come close to there is so much stuff I have intentionally not done It's like
it doesn't look like it's
try and tell
available for
everybody how big this game
pre-download.
is, and the folks that are playing it, like,
Not yet.
the things they will tell
It's
us
the
is,
23rd of
yeah, you
August.
weren't kidding how big. Like, I can't believe how big it is. Like, yeah, it's content and explore. Like,
It
no matter
looks
how
a
you
lot
wanna play,
like
there's
No
so much
Man's
for you.
Sky, though.
You mentioned
I
opening
think
live.
what they're
Talk about
going
that in
off
a
of
sec,
is
but I
more
just kinda wanna know
realism.
why it was so important to bring the experience of Starfield that you have to this audience right here at Gamescom.
I mean, for one thing, like our games have always done really well in Germany. It's obviously, you know, it's a really well-known PC market, and we obviously came from being an indie PC developer and publisher before we were anything else. But this audience and role-playing games and what they mean in Germany, it's a very popular genre, and across Elder Scrolls and Fallout, Bethesda Game Studios has got a really big following in this territory, and for all the folks who come to Cologne who aren't in Germany, and we just felt like this close to launch to try and do something special.
Gamescom
for them,
is a pretty
to sort of surprise
big
and delight and to just
European-wide gaming
take
festival.
pictures
I'm
and
not
have
sure if I would
conversation or
focus
whatever.
on the German
We
market.
want to make sure that they feel as special as they are to us.
It's cool for me to see that you've got that glass cabinet full of all the different Starfield paraphernalia. We got the Series X console wrap, we got the Constellation Edition watch, and that helps me feel at least like we're so tangible. It's like it's right there. I can even like grab
Does
it.
Xbox have a
Plus,
watch?
It's really good, like shopping. For
I missed
for-
out on
yeah,
this.
I want that. I need that.
Yeah, yeah.
Those,
You've got the watch on already.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. Trust me.
Love the watch. Yeah, we're really excited both for like how good the game is, but the way in which Xbox has supported us with console wraps and like the controller and the headset
Oh,
is
they're
the
beautiful.
best piece of hardware. They are so good. I use them nonstop.
Yeah.
All full credit to that team. But across Xbox,
Apparently, Xbox
the way
did come out with
they
a watch
have
and canceled
stepped
the
up and
project in
supported and
2013.
amplified
They were
Starfield
planning to do
in
something that
every
went with
way
the Kinect.
possible has been just awesome to be a part of. We're so pleased for all of the support that they've given us.
Yeah, you're just helping me dress my entire house with Starfield stuff at this point, so I'm happy enough as it is.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
We did get to see quite a lot of Starfield. You had a new trailer last night at Opening Night Live. Todd came on stage to chat a bit more about what that opening sequence looks like, what players can expect. But why don't you catch us up more on the news of the day, really, for Starfield?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to say, I am a few weeks away, whatever the number is, 6 or 7, from 24 years at this company. Wow. That is the best trailer we've ever made, and I will have words with anybody who says otherwise. It is my favorite thing. I had absolutely nothing to do with that trailer. Full disclosure, that is my team. That is Aaron Losey's team going out and making that happen. And
Get your flowers, guys.
the tone that it hits, the way that it hits that feel of not just what it's like to play the game, but sort of the hopefulness, the lifting others
The
up.
cover
Just-
in
I think it's
that
brilliant.
trailer is really good.
But
if you have a chance
it's
to
not
watch
just
it.
that. It's
the musical
we've
cover.
got wraps for your Xbox console. Something Xbox has never offered that look really great. We've released a bunch of new wallpapers, desktop wallpapers and phone wallpapers that have been amazing. We are now in the point. I said last night to the folks after dinner, there is no emergency brake anymore on this launch, folks. We're a go whether we're ready or not. So everybody,
Ooh.
make sure your seatbelt is fast.
I always worry about when they say whether we're ready or not. Does this mean there's going to be a lot of bugs?
Reinforce this to our respective teams as much as we can. You don't get many opportunities at a game like this. Games of any kind, is a finite number for anybody in development or publishing. But for something like this, for as special as it is, for as long as I've been here and to see what these different launches are, you can tell when something special is happening. And I think Starfield is that. And I really have tried to emphasize to our teams, amidst all of the hard work, please find time to enjoy this, because you never know when you get another chance to be a part of something as special.
Talking about the stewardship that you and Todd have over this team to bring something like Starfield to players out there, and it often gets described as, it's an open world game, but that feels like a bit of a disservice because it's not just the one world, it's thousands that we can explore, and just sprawling open world experience across a real good portion of the galaxy. I mean, what is it like to actually have to lead a team on such an endeavor as that, where it's a grand scale that we've seen and all the detail as well?
Yeah, I mean, as you all have seen, as you watched how we've talked about Starfield, it really required us to push ourselves in terms of how do you get the rest of the world to wrap its head around a game of this size and scope. I mean, it is literally it feels when you're playing it almost like there are a bunch of different games inside of one game, and I get to decide how much time I want to spend in a way that you haven't really seen in a Fallout or Skyrim. I mean, those things are still, I can spend all my time just picking flowers in the Elder Scrolls. Like, yes, you can, but it doesn't feel as wholly different as like the entire space game that exists, the entire live on a planet, just like the freeform exploration, the combat, the which factions taking sides, the player. It's just amazing to see it all, how it all comes together. But explaining that to folks in a way that is digestible, it's how you end up with something like Starfield Direct, which I mean, it's basically a feature film that we created just to explain to folks and to talk with folks about. Not just explain what the game is, but do it in a way that I just thought was really authentic, and hearing from the people making it, how they think about both creating it, how they think about playing it, and seeing the way that resonated with players, I think was really special.
One thing that really grabs me, I think, is the love that's being poured into like Radiant Quest systems and just allowing those new and unique experiences for people to have, no matter where they are in the galaxy, whether they are just flying around in space, whether they are out there just maybe mining some rocks or looking at new fauna, flora, etc. It's a really cool way to involve them in new stories that they perhaps weren't searching for, but now they're being like collided into, and it's just juicy. You want to dive.
And then because we made an irresponsibly large game, we take it to another level that I think, and this is one of the things I'm looking for. We've seen it ourselves. Like I was just talking to a couple of folks from our Benelux office who were like, they've both played, about the same amount of time, like 40 hours or 60 hours, but their experiences were like, we didn't do any of the same things at all, like not even close, and just with that, and then the whole like locations aren't the same for every person. Like what you and I find going to explore this planet, I can't just tell you should go here and land here and find this. Like, that might not be there for you.
That's going to be really interesting for like walkthroughs and playthroughs. If everything's totally different and you get stuck somewhere, I'm not sure you're going to be able to get any help.
I mean, Jamie Mallory literally coming out and saying, "Oh, well, hold my sandwich. I'm grabbing them all here," and it does speak to that unique way that every player can tackle whatever situation they do come across.
They're really obsessed with these sandwiches.
Character creation, and that jumping off point of deciding, here's what I'm going to start off as. I have no idea where that journey is going to take me and how it might change me as a player, me as a character in this game, and it's all really fascinating. But what are the sorts of way that you tend to play it? I mean, I know you've poured in some time now, but
look, when we're in this phase and like leading up, I don't play like I would, like I don't play like I'm about to when I get back home. Where like, okay, now I'm gonna start like this is Pete's
you got a job to do right now.
Up to this point, it's been Bethesda's character, and sort of the way I've approached it is sort of testing. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been interacting with our players playing Bethesda Game Studio stuff for a long time, so we know how they think. And I talked to Jamie after E3, and she's like, I don't get this. Like, why is this such a thing? And I said, Jamie, what you did is you tapped into the silliness factor that like you sort of tend to forget. Like you talk about Starfield, and but it's still fun. Like it's supposed to be about fun, and you put your finger sort of right on the pulse of the kind of nonsense that our players love to get up to, because we make a game that is about freedom, right? Like we embrace chaos. We give players more freedom than I think in a game like this than people really dare to in their games. Like that's part of what makes Starfield special. And look, that creates situations that we have to do a lot of work to make sure like this doesn't break, this doesn't create problems. But the payoff for that and like what players are allowed to do, like, wait, I can do this? Like I can spend all my time doing something as ridiculous as this? Yes, like if that's what you want the game to be about, that's what you should do. But we want you to go and push and try all of the different ways, because it's really not about like our story or how we want you to play. It's about how you want to play. So when I play, I spend time like, I'm going to spend a week and not land on a planet. Like, what's it like to just be in outer space, spend all my time in outer space, landing on star stations, derelict ships, doing all this stuff. And then I'll be like, okay, now I'm going to go land in this city, and I want to see how long I can spend not leaving this city. Like, how many factions can I find? How many quests can I do? And I'll get to decision points where it's like, look, you're about to, like, you have to pick a side here. And I'll make a save, and like, I'm going to play this way, and I'm going to go 2 hours down the road just to see, like, how does that feel? And then rewind and play it 2 hours the other direction, just because I want to know, like, what.
That's so interesting. He's even suggesting that we should save Scum so that we can see how paths unfold. Interesting.
And the more of it you do, the more you find like there's 1,000 hours in this version of the game alone. Like if you don't even touch it, it's crazy. And like my one piece of advice to folks is do not ignore your activities. Like that's almost it feels like throwaway stuff that the game is giving you. Like there is some amazing stuff in there that doesn't even feel like a real quest, but like will take you to some amazing places and amazing stories. We encourage you to play this like any BGS game, which is like do what you want, go where you want, test the game, you know, be the kind of player, the kind of person you want to be in this world, and see what happens.
I get chills thinking about what I'm going to get out.
It's going to be a lot.
Gonna be a renegade.
Stories and how people choose to express themselves in this game. It's going to be amazing.
I got one more question I just have to ask you.
Okay.
I know you're a fan, but are Arsenal going to win the league?
Yes.
You heard it here. Thanks again, Pete.
Remember though, you guys
soccer
can play
talk.
Starfield day and date on Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass starting September 6th. But if you can't wait that long like me, early access is going to kick off on August 31st with the Digital Premium Edition, Digital Premium Upgrade, or the Constellation Edition. But coming up, we've got Blizzard here to talk Diablo 4. We're celebrating 10 years of
so you only get
Xbox titles. And Phil Spencer himself is going to stop by and talk new releases and what he can't wait for fans to experience here at Gamescom.
So you only get the early access if you have the deluxe editions or better.
I'll follow you from here on out, Captain.
I like the good luck, have fun GLHF that they're doing. It's very community pulse.
Would you believe me if I said that a day consists of more than 24 hours?
That's the dark hour. A time period hidden between one day and the next.
What are you talking about?
This isn't my kind of game, but I know it will be popular with some people.
Those creatures, we call them shadows. They only appear during the dark hour and attack anyone who roams free outside the coffins. Shadows can only be defeated by persona users. It's our...
Prepared an evoker for you. We'd like you to lend us your strength.
Come! Persona!
It's nice turn-based combat.
Let's do it.
Doesn't feel like there's a lot of bow in these type of games, so it's interesting to see somebody with bow and arrow.
Well, hello everyone. I'm so excited to be joining you once again for Gamescom with the rest of the Xbox One team hosting the crew. Now it's time to land betwixt the high heavens and burning hells, and to be totally honest, I can't think of better guys than Blizzard's Rod Ferguson and Chris Wilson sat right next to me. Hello.
Oh, I have some comments on Diablo 4.
Have that. Right, Chris, I'm going to come to you first. So, Diablo 4, Season of Blood, was all over Opening Night Live last night. But I want you to wrap up some of the key announcements that fans should be super stoked about, just in case they missed it.
Sure. So the Season of Blood will launch on October 17th. We're really excited. The reason why we named it the Season of Blood is we're actually going to be bringing vampires into the world of Sanctuary.
Well, yeah, makes sense. It's not like you're turning the whole place into a bright red swimming pool. There are other reasons, yeah.
Precisely. So what's really exciting about that is we're going to have a new quest line. There's going to be a new villain, a vampire villain who's basically bringing his minions into Sanctuary. And you as the player need to obviously thwart this threat. And in doing so, you'll partner with a vampire hunter, voiced by Gemma Chan.
Yeah.
So we're super excited to have her join the cast, the talented cast of voiceover actors on the game. In addition, you'll have access to new vampiric powers. So that's really going to change up the gameplay for our players.
Yeah, big time.
Really excited about that. New legendary weapons and items that you can collect.
Yeah,
new
the hunt
uniques.
begins all over again to find them, huh?
Precisely. So super excited. October 17th will be a big day.
Brilliant. It's going to be so good. And Rod, I hear that on top of everything else you've got going on this week, that there's something that you brought specifically to the show here, and that's a trivia question that you want to pose to Twitch chat, which, by the way...
Side note, there already are vampires in Diablo 4. There are like blood type bosses that will use vampiric powers and suck your life points out. So they already sort of exist. The season of the Malignant, I haven't been too impressed with. It's really empty in the middle and end game content. Once you do the story, there's really nothing going on. And the Malignant Hearts just sort of clog up your storage. We haven't really been using them, to be honest, aside from the Wrathful Heart, where you can only have one on your entire build, and it's pretty powerful. But other than that, we haven't really been doing enjoying the current season that's going on. And some of the season achievements are incredibly difficult. In the final season achievement, you need to get to level 100. I mean, that takes forever. I've been playing hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and I'm only level 70, so it's going to be pretty challenging, I think.
Don't mess about with your answers. If you want to win it, put the right one in chat for me, please. But Chris, we're kind of...
So, throughout development, and obviously as we kind of got through launch, we've been very keen on understanding what are the emergent themes, what are the things that the pain points that players are experiencing.
Everything.
How do we fold those fixes into our future seasons? And so for season 2, there are a number of quality of life improvements that we'll be adding, in addition to all the really cool content. So a few examples, inventory space with gems in particular has been...
Because I do find myself going back quite often going, I like these, I do something with them, but you just need to get out from them.
Exactly.
I like picking up everything. Even when I get to high level, I'm not just picking up the yellow stuff or the red, I'm getting everything. So
yeah.
That's a good one to know.
Yeah, so we'll be making some changes there to make that easier for players to manage. Similarly, there's some improvements around our resistances system. Just always trying to look to improve.
I just think that they probably should
better for the future.
bin the gems at higher levels. Once you already have so many in your inventory, I don't even pick them up anymore.
All these different things in the world.
I'm nearly level 70.
At launch, we intended for you to do everything every season.
Yeah.
And we heard lots of feedback in the preseason, we don't want to find the altars of Lilith. Oh, we don't want to clear the map again. So for season 1, we made a fix, and now you took that with you. Now during season 1, we're hearing we don't if we completed it, just mark it completed and let us move on.
If I've got the shrines, let me keep the shrines.
Exactly. And the side quests and so that's what we're doing for season 2. Is that all that renown is coming forward? So whether you did it on the internal realm, did it on the seasonal realm, it'll be done in season 2.
So the completionists are thrilled.
Yeah. So they'll start season 2 with all those Paragon points, all those ovals. It'll be so much better.
Oh, amazing. That sounds fantastic. In fact, I want to come back to you, Rod, on this bit as well. As well as improving those bits and pieces throughout the seasons, as you've mentioned, you're also and have announced that you're working on the end game experience in Diablo 4. So I'm wondering if you can tell me a little bit more about that. I'll be totally transparent. I'm not there yet myself because I'm still doing all the bits on the side. I get very, very interested. So what is the end game experience and how's it improving?
Well, the end game experience is that part we talk about. It's generally from level 50 to level 100. So usually when you play the campaign, you finish about the mid-40s to early 50s. And so one of the things we want to do is, as we've been, looking at the different seasons, each season we want to keep enhancing that end game, give people more things to do. And we're doing that for season 2. We're introducing these 5 additional end game bosses that along the way that you have these milestones that to start at level 55, and as you go up, you have this new boss to go after to test your build and challenge. But what's really cool about them is that they actually will drop uniques and are uber uniques, which have a very low drop rate. These have a much higher drop rate of those, those unique things that could really make your build shine. And so that's going to be really exciting to be able to go and farm those uniques from those bosses. And it even leads into season 3. We're not really talking that much about season 3.
Oh, darn it! I'll just go then.
But no, we've already talked about leaderboards, and that's something that we're really excited about for season 3. So again, every season we want to be okay, how can we continue to make the game better for players? And Endgame is one of those things.
I mean, as a side note, I think that they should be patching the game regularly and not making us wait till October to fix it. A lot of it is still quite broken.
So the last thing I want to ask is, if anyone in chat or anyone anywhere has been in any major city in the last 6 months, you will have absolutely seen some of the Diablo 4 mega marketing that's been going on. You've also had collabs with Halsey, Megan Fox. If you're in Berlin, there was a Lilith statue. In London, we had a chocolate shop. So I'd love to hear from you both what it's been like to see and feel Diablo 4 turn into this cultural phenomenon and this iconic game that it is.
Yeah, it was really important for us as we think about the marketing for Diablo. One is we wanted a game for all players. We didn't want it just to be about, this is for the ultra core. We wanted to make sure that anybody could play Diablo 4. And as part of that, we wanted to raise out of the industry genre sort of marketing and get into that sort of pop culture entertainment. And so that was a big thing for us. And with 12 million players and 1.3 billion hours played, like
those are some good numbers.
Yeah,
I like that.
So it was pretty awesome, and to see even like Whoopi Goldberg, mad at me because I didn't support it on the Mac. Like it was very surreal moments.
What happens when Whoopi Goldberg gets involved and is
I don't know.
unhappy?
Like, she apparently was not happy with us.
You didn't have a crisis con plan for that one.
No, I mean we offered.
I mean, they're just talking a little bit bollocks at the moment. So I will say that, as I understand it, while you do get to keep your like core progression, like the Altars of Lilith and things that you've unlocked, every season you need to make a new character and start over. And considering that I've been playing the new season from day one really, really intensely, and I've only gotten this character to level 70, I mean, I doubt that in a month's time I'll be able to get it to level 100. Someone said when you reach 95, you're halfway to 100. So I'm not sure if they've done anything to address the grind, but aside from when I'm playing it with my partner, I don't actually find Diablo 4 to be that fun as a solo experience. And that's because in the end game, there really isn't much to do. I'm grinding up to level 70 so I can unlock Torment mode, and I need to get my glyph to level 20, so I need to just grind nightmare dungeons, and that's really all you do. And it's the same few nightmare dungeons most of the time, and it's the same. In fact, at one point I had 3 versions of the same unique staff. So I think that it really does lose something after the campaign is over, but we'll go back to what they're saying.
I think the true innovation that is happening in the industry for games right now is actually happening in the independent space.
Indies can try new things. They can try bizarre things. They can afford to fail.
They're not afraid to go outside of the comfort zone of what is currently popular, what will make the most money.
It's often generated by an idea that's grown from a personal experience or personal desire to play a specific type of game.
Big studios may be risk averse when it comes to trying out new things, new ideas, new features. Our independent developers are the ones who are really tip of the spear for a lot of that. They're taking risks, they're bold.
That means that indie games may be amazing experiences that just never have the budget to make them as cool as full-featured games. That sucks.
I've been making games since 1985, before there really was a game industry. Back in the day, the indie scene was shareware. You put shareware on a floppy disk and you get it out there to as many people as possible. You could always make games, but getting them in front of people was always a problem. There's a lot to do because true indie developers are responsible for the game, obviously, and then also marketing and PR and distribution.
We all came with this kind of old school mentality that you needed a big publisher, you can't build your own team, and all of this mindset that kept our thinking a little bit too small.
And I think a lot of that changed in the early 2000s with the rise of things like the Xbox program and Steam and all this stuff.
It was really a different time. We were just at the dawn of digital downloads. And today, it just seems like hard to even imagine that there wasn't a world where everything was digitally downloaded. But Xbox Live Arcade clearly showed that like digitally downloading games was like an amazing way forward. The first games I worked on for XBLA were Joust, Robotron, and Defender. But quickly, developers saw this amazing opportunity. Like, wait a minute, I can make a game for a couple dozen megabytes and sell it directly to consumers for $5 or $10 or $15. The popularity vastly outstripped anything that Microsoft ever expected when it started the program. They thought it was going to be kind of cool to have some neat downloadable arcade games or puzzle games, and what they got was some of the most innovative and progressive independent games that have ever been created.
I'm pretty sure that that was
Castle Crashers and Braid
that cup
and
game,
everything else
which I don't know if I would call indie.
Was actually happening faster than Microsoft could really respond to it on 360. And as we got into the Xbox One era, we realized, we needed to take the next step for independent developers. So I was one of the people.
Was Project Spark actually real? I never remember getting to play with it.
We were seeing an opportunity where more independent developers could actually bring their games without having a publisher.
back in the day, it was really hard to get dev kits. To get games on Xbox, developers needed kits. And so we made a commitment early on that every developer is going to get access to 2 dev kits at no charge. We knew if we could do those things, make it easy to ship, enable developers to do what they want, to be their own publishers, we knew that we would be giving Xbox players access to this amazing variety of content, and we knew that Xbox players would respond. The next thing was to go to Cologne and announce it.
Here we are, it's that time of the year again. Cologne, Germany for Gamescom.
My favorite time
Oh my gosh, 10 years ago. Wow.
We had like more than 1,000 people apply in the first hour after we announced it until the website crashed. I think the big thing that we understood by the end of the show was like, oh my gosh, we have so much work to do.
Boom! That'll slow them down.
We wanted a program that made sure that people who we had never heard of would be able to come to Xbox and have fantastic success. And so whether you were a long-standing developer or whether you were like, 2 brothers in Canada who had like a bonkers idea to hand draw every frame of a video game, we wanted to make sure Xbox was there for you.
Our original team started off with my brother Jared.
Yeah, there it is, Cuphead.
I always wanting to make a video game. And as we got through some initial ideas and some initial concepts and how the game was going to go, we pulled in my wife, Maya Moldenhauer, and we started as this small, tight-knit team and expanded from there.
Studio MDHR at the time, was a wonderful small family based in Canada who had this amazing game.
They had a vision for a game that's unlike any game anybody's ever made before. You can say, oh, there's been run and gun games before. There've been hand-drawn games before. Nobody ever thought to put them together the way they did.
The art style of Cuphead was influenced heavily by the 1930s.
I've never played Cuphead, but Stacy says it's very difficult.
With the retro games from the 1980s era that we grew up and loved. Marrying those two together, Cuphead was the byproduct.
The game is so cute, it's beautiful, it's also very challenging.
It was less a choice of us wanting to make the game hard just to make it hard, and more of the fact that Cuphead had to be hard to be a fun game. We had to love every aspect of what we were doing, and that means every creative decision had to be something we truly loved.
The thing that stands out in my mind was we were down in LA at E3 and we were announcing Cuphead. They announced the date and everybody goes crazy. It was just such an amazing moment.
That feeling is still very raw. I almost get choked up sometimes when we talk about it because, we talk about how we had put so much on the line. To step foot on that stage and not know whether or not we would ever even make our money back, whether or not we would ever be able to make another game. To see the fans' response to that announcement change the course of our lives.
They've had so much success now. You can get a marionette, you can watch a Netflix show, you can get like a pencil case. It's so cool.
Cuphead has a Netflix show?
Everywhere. But in a lot of ways, it was kind of like the prototypical, what we were hoping was going to happen when ID at Xbox started.
Hello all, thank you for coming to this very important informational meeting.
The first time I heard about ID at Xbox, I was doing Thimbleweed Park. Prior to then, it was really kind of just me. Things like Steam or a black box. You fill out some forms, you put a game up there. We didn't have a ton of money for things like marketing and PR, but we were invited to a whole lot of events that ID and Xbox was putting on. Ability to show our game. They gave us, nice placement on the dashboard. And
gave you lots of plushies from the looks
really
of it.
Good. One of the key things of ID at Xbox is listen to the developers. When we want to get great games to players, the way you do that is by listening to developers and making sure you're making a program that works for them.
Ashenir is an independent title. The 4 founders really wanted to venture out on their own, start their own project, take ownership over every part of development. When the original team was building out the game, they were really looking for a creative partner to work with to execute on that vision and also give them a little room. And ID at Xbox stepped in and said, hey, we want you to make whatever you want to make, and we're going to give you the resources that you might not even know that you need in order to do that. We launched into game preview,
It's like
into early access, and it saw amazing success right off the bat.
Starfield.
And so I think once we realized that people were coming along on that ride with us, we just saw that as a way to just keep building it out. I mean, at this point now, I think we've updated like 40 times.
Over the 10 years of ID at Xbox, we've been reaching developers, having a lot of cool developers bring their games to the platform. But we also recognize that there's more that we can do to reach our...
Just a side note, like this sort of pre-filmed video is not what I would expect from a Facebook Live. So I'm not sure how they are putting this pre-filmed content in with the live stuff, but I kind of would prefer more of the live stuff, if I'm honest.
Committed to studios led by women, studios led by people of color, studios led by members of the LGBTQI plus community or indigenous people. There's a studio that's focusing on accessibility.
Hello, little fella.
Another group of developers that we support through the DAP program are developers in parts of the world that are underrepresented from a game development standpoint. I recently had the chance to attend the big festival in Brazil. There's a studio called Sudaril. They're making a game called One Beat Men. This is a game about Afro-Brazilians and beatboxing.
Raji is a game by Notting Head Games from India. They made this beautiful game. It's an action-adventure game revolved around this young female protagonist. There's a lot of adaptation from the mythology from India. It's just very
really pretty.
Authentically Indian.
Reminds me of that game with that boy and his dog.
From Indonesia is a really, really beautifully crafted game. It's just a really nice gameplay experience where you get to learn about a different culture.
As we start to empower more of these studios to tell more of their stories, I think we're going to see more diversity in the games that are coming to the platform, more diversity in the gamers that are playing these games.
We made this little program to try and enable developers, and it's awesome, but developers are the people should be thinking about.
The types of games that we see in genre, in style, in art, in region, in the size of the developers, the story they're trying to tell, it has increased in the last 10 years, and I see that continuing to rise.
Whenever you're building art, it's like it's a part of your soul, right? You're putting yourself out there when you have your art, whether it's a painting or music or a game.
I think it's very important for companies like Microsoft to pay attention and help the independent community. It changes that old way of thinking that you can't break into the industry, and now it actually lets the next generation of people truly dig in. We're going to see so many more new and creative ideas that's going to push and drive innovation moving forward into the future.
Joining me now is a true champion of indie titles, Mr. Chris Charlotte. Chris, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, thank you.
Awesome, it's so good to have you here at Gamescom and chat to you where it all began for ID at Xbox. 10 years ago, in 2013, ID at Xbox was born at Gamescom. Can you tell us what a decade really means to you and the team at Xbox?
It's really amazing, because it feels like it was yesterday. I'm walking around, I'm getting all these memories, and it feels like yesterday, but it's actually 10 years, it's like 20% of the length of the game industry ago. And to me, the fact that we're still seeing incredible support for indie games just shows like how foundational they've become to Xbox and to the game industry too. So it's just super cool.
Yeah, super cool. I totally agree. Speaking of memories, things like that, I hear there's quite a fun story about Gamescom and how you came about with the name ID at Xbox. Care to share with us?
Sure, yeah. So now it can be told. We changed the name of the program 3 times in the 3 days before Gamescom. So we started with a name. We all looked at it and trying to convince ourselves it was okay, and we're like, oh, that's not it. So then we had another meeting. We had our new name, and we were looking at it, and it was a 3-letter acronym, which we love at Microsoft. We have the Developer Acceleration Program, 3-letter acronym. But somebody just looked at it, a VP, and he just walked up to the whiteboard and crossed it out and just wrote ID at Xbox, independent developers at Xbox. You can't make it an acronym. You have to say it. It's just too important to leave to an acronym. And we're all just like, that's it. We're ordering new business cards, and we ordered business cards for the 3rd time in 3 days, and changed all the press releases. And
let me tell you how difficult that actually is to achieve, by the way. Like, it is almost impossible to get business cards printed in a couple days.
as well as on the booth floor here at Xbox. I mean, we were chatting about Thirsty Suitors. That is one that I really can't wait to find out about. And Little Kitty Big City, obviously. Can you tell us about some of your highlights that you're excited for fans to see over Gamescom?
Oh yeah, well you just named two of them. Another Crab's Treasure is another one. It's a Souls-like where you play a crab, which is everything I want in an indie game. And I actually just played Island of Winds like right before we went on, and I hadn't played it before, and it is creepy as heck, and it's just so good. I mean, I only got to play for like 5 minutes, and they just do such a good job of creating this atmospheric, creepy village that I'm just about to get to the first house and explore, and then now I'm here. But yeah, that game looks really cool. Cocoon. I think we have about a dozen games here from the ID at Xbox program, so super excited for people to check them out. And we've even got a couple games behind closed doors for the press to look at, and so very exciting.
Awesome. We need to have more of a chat and go and play these afterwards, because you named two of my favorite things. Souls-likes and horror games, so I can't wait to find out more. So that's what's happening this week and in the present. Can you tell us a little bit more about the future of ID at Xbox?
Yeah, so I mean, ID at Xbox has always been about empowering developers, and at GDC we announced we were going to make a couple changes to just try and do that better, always trying to improve. And actually Monday, we launched a new portal for developers in the ID at Xbox program. If they go to their dev portal, you have to have an NDA and all that kind of thing. You can now directly pitch a game to Microsoft for a deal such as Game Pass or another deal opportunity. And it used to be that you sort of had to like meet somebody or know somebody, and we're always eager to meet people, but we can't meet everybody. And now any developer is going to be able to pitch their game, and we think that's just a great step to making sure that we see all the awesome content, and that means we can find the best games to share with Xbox players.
Sounds great.
That's a good idea.
More accessible. I'm going to check out how to sign up as well. Where can developers find out more about that then?
Yeah, if they just go to xbox.com/ID, they can learn all about the program. And if you go to our YouTube channel, you can see lots of cool games.
We all love cool games. Well, Chris, thank you so much for chatting with us. We'll catch up over some games later. But we're going to find out more about 33 Immortals later today as well. Check out the latest maps in Flight Simulator. And I hear Phil Spencer's going to stop by and have a wee chat on the booth too. First, let's have a look at ID at Xbox's Steam World Build and Worldless.
You see all those stars up there? That's where we'll live once we escape this world.
How will we get all the way up there, Pa?
I'll show you, hon.
Funny.
First, how about we build us a nice little town?
Okay, let's go.
Cute. I personally love this kind of game. It looks adorable. I'll definitely play it. That's so cute. Robot Western. It's like they're just sticking things into a hat and pulling it out. Like Souls-like, robot, world builder. Like...
Are we gonna work in the mine, Pa?
No, I'll leave that to the professionals.
This is robot on robot segregation. Reminds me a bit of that like dungeon delve like mining game.
What do we do now?
Let's build us some defenses.
Hey, what the heck is that? Gross.
Hey, what are you doing?
They're collecting pieces of our rocket, hon.
Wow.
Wait, they already had a rocket? They need to have a rocket again?
How about you search us a new home?
Hooray! I'll be at the observatory. I'll look for the
I love that their rocket looks like a train.
We could also have a movie theater, a roller coaster.
That's cute. Yeah, I'll probably play that. This isn't an art style that interests me that much, unfortunately. In the nicest possible way, you look like a little sperm. Like, especially the white character. Probably not for me.
Hello Gamescom, it's Melly and I'm so excited to help host this massive Xbox booth. We've got so much in store throughout this show and I can't wait for you to see it. But now it's time for another Xbox Game Pass Ultimate giveaway, so type...
I think we're nearly done with the first part, and that was the part that I was interested in seeing, so I'll give it another minute and see who they're talking to, but I might end it here shortly.
Earlier this summer on our Xbox Game Showcase and Extended, and now we're going to talk about 33 Immortals, and for that we have...
Yeah, that's not me. So the rest of the games I'm not that interested in, so I'm going to leave it here. That was sort of a live react and talk over the Xbox at Gamescom 2023 live from the show floor day one. I'm pretty excited about Starfield. I hope that it lives up to the hype. The new trailer looks amazing. I like the cover song, and I hope that it's better than No Man's Sky was when it came out and better than it is today. Diablo 4, I think they probably need to put the fixes into place and put the in-game content in now rather than later. I mean, I'm probably going to start playing Starfield and Baldur's Gate next month in September when they become available on console. So I'm not really interested in Diablo 4 after that. They've not done enough to really hook me. And then for the indie games, I mean, looks cool. I like that little Steam game thing. That looks fun. And we saw a lot in the Xbox showcase that looked pretty interesting that I probably would give a bit of time to. So if you watch this and you watch the continuing coverage, let me know what you thought. If you agree with the hype around Starfield, if you think it's going to live up to it, if you are excited for the next Season of Blood with Diablo 4, or if the Season of the Malignant disappointed you as well. I just want to talk about it and see what you thought. So follow us at Red Rebel Podcast for new content like this uploaded every single week, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye.